Okay, so let's go ahead and go over this bad boy. And we got a lot to go over, so I'm going to try to go over it as quickly as possible. This is the Masters of the Universe Origins Battle for Eternia set. It's 4 action figures, one from each faction of Masters of the Universe. You've got the Heroic Warrior, you've got the Snake Man, you've got the Evil Warrior, and you've got a member of the Evil Horde. So here's the artwork on the back for each character. And you see, it's got a little scroll at the bottom with the character's name in that classic Masters Universe font. That's what the sides of the package look like. Nothing too interesting going on over there, really. It's got a couple of sky sleds up here, but other than that, it's planets and moons and stuff like that. And I think these are even reused from the sky sleds over here. Got a bunch of palace guards and these skeleton warriors, and you got some hordemen, and looks like Horde Prime over, not Horde Trooper Prime. What a confusing name. And it looks like even He-Man himself, but it's after he's been in the slime pit. So there is some cool stuff going on in the background over here. Is that Cobra Khan? I think that's Cobra Khan. And this palace guard, he's seen better days. So we got a big old battle. This is one of those skeletrons or whatever the hell they're called. Uh, the thing from the kids book that was Skeletor's army builder, and that these are all supposed to be army builders. Why don't I go ahead and read the bio on the back before I open them up real quick? So, Paragon Champion is the heroic warrior, and it says, when the royal palace of Eternos is in need of its greatest protectors, King Randor calls in his Paragon champions, the highest order of knights in Eternia. Each Paragon champion is known for his honor, virtue, bravery, and skill in battle. The Skelenite, that's the evil warrior. Skeletor has faced the failures of his stooges for long enough. No longer reliant on the competence of others, he creates his own army of swordsmen with the raw energy of havoc magic, all under his control. And the Horde Revenant, uh, there are those on Etheria dedicated to the Resistance, but when their valor breaks, Hordak swoops in to turn them into the most violent of his horde, the Revenants. Bound by their dishonor, the Revenants have no choice but to do Hordak's bidding. And then finally, the Pit Warden, that's the Snake Man. Uh, the Pit Wardens are feared among the Pit Wardens are feared most among the Snake Men for their unrelenting viciousness and the difficulty in destroying them. For it is said, remove the head of a Pit Warden, and 2 more shall take its place. Almost like a Hydra. All right, so let's go ahead and get them opened up. We got a lot to go over, like I said, so I'm gonna try to do this as quickly as possible. Because I slept late today and I still want to take a nap before I go to work. Some days I wake up just in time to go to sleep, but that's just how it is. Oh, we should look at the artwork on the inside of the flat too. Isn't that a nice piece of artwork? And it's the same piece of artwork from the front, I think. No, wait. Yeah, it is the same piece of artwork from the front. The end of Eternos is nigh. Skeletor, King Hiss, and Hordak have sent their most elite warriors to claim their dominance over the first planet. Unfortunately, Eternia is not without. Oh, sorry. Fortunately, Eternia is not without its own defenses. King Randor unleashes his King's Guard to protect the people and push back the threats before they destroy each other and take all of Eternia with them. All right, so let's go ahead and get these out of the package. And I guess we'll start with the Paragon champion. Now, those of you who watched the Masters of the Universe Revolution cartoon series might think this guy's outfit looks a little familiar. I know I did. And it looks like there's no rubber tabs holding this guy in the package, so that's good. I'm gonna pop his head off first, and then I'm gonna pull this cape over his neck, and then just pull the figure itself out. Oh, there's a rubber tab around his foot. One rubber tab around. Actually, they're both. They were both supposed to be around his feet, but uh, they came off. Actually, I think he is supposed to be rubber tabbed in, but they just didn't do a good job with the rubber tabs. Not that I'm complaining, because the only one that really held him in was one of the ones around his foot. All right, so now I'll put the cape back on him, and this is a kind of a royal blue cape. It's kind of the same color that Randor's cape is. I don't know if it's the exact same color, but it's very similar. And he's got a lot of parts that we've seen before. Most of these figures are going to be uh, like mostly repaints from figures that we've seen before, and not if not entire repaints, then at least partial repaints. And he only has one arm guard, and it's that one. I think that came from the Ninja Turtle version of Man at Arms, which I thought I had one around here somewhere, but I guess I don't. All right, and some of his articulation is a little stiff, so I'm trying to see if I can. There we go. Get that to move. All right, so this is entirely a repaint figure. The other three figures all seem to have at least new heads. This guy doesn't even have a new head. He's just got the mostly is a repaint of the Palace Guard, which itself was mostly a new version of Man at Arms. It just had some extra parts to it, and even those extra parts were just kind of like just mirror the shin guard and the shoulder guard and the arm. But he doesn't come with a forearm guard. He only comes with one forearm guard, and it's this big gold one. And then his armor, his breastplate, of course, is Jitsu. So yeah, he's basically supposed to be like a fancy palace guard. And in my own continuity, we know this about the palace guards is that if we pull down the faceplate, it actually is a Man at Arms underneath. It's based on the original Man at Arms figure. So I'm gonna pretend like this is like I was alluding to earlier, the Revolution cartoon. We saw Man at Arms in a very similar outfit like this, his Man of War outfit. So I'm going to say that this is actually Man at Arms in his Man of War outfit. That's going to be my take on this character. And the weapon he comes with, we've seen this weapon before. It's the April O'Neil's camcorder staff, which a lot of people think it's supposed to be a hammer. I've heard a lot of people describe it as being a hammer, and why would I talked about how it looked like a hammer, and why would you have a hammer that has a camera lens on the front of it? That just isn't very well designed. But you can see that this is instead molded in like an opaque gold plastic, at least as opaque as metallic gold plastic can be. And so this is unambiguously a warhammer. So let's go ahead and put it in his hands. And it does have a couple of narrower spots that the hands are supposed to hold on to. So you can fit it into his hands pretty well. Unfortunately, since this was designed for April O'Neil, who is a female character and has smaller, daintier hands, the spaces that are made for this to hold on to are not quite as big as you would want for a more masculine Masters of the Universe figure with larger hands. So it doesn't grip it quite as well as you would like. Either you're going to have to just kind of fit the hands in there as well as you can, or have him try to grip the thicker part of it. But there he is holding the hammer. Pretty cool. We're not going to go over the articulation on these guys because they're all the same articulation. I'll go over one. I'll pick one and I'll go over that one. And I think that's going to be the Skell Knight once I get to that one. But he's a really cool looking figure. The colors all work together pretty well. He's got like white and gold armor, and then the black bodysuit, the blue cape, the gold on the gold detailing on the armor, and this forearm guard, and then just kind of like brown trunks. It all comes together very well. He looks quite nice, so I'm pretty happy with how that one came together. Let's move on to the next figure, which is the Skull Knight. And his weapon is this big ass sword. It's huge. Now, I don't have the original one, but I have a version that somebody made that you could 3D print. I think it was Mega Custom X. Had made for his Patreon had made a copy of the Remco Conan sword, and it's about that size. It's huge. This is a gigantic broadsword. Like you can see, it's almost the length of the whole figure. So let's go ahead and talk about this guy. So I'm pretty sure these forearms are reused from something, but I can't quite place what. Maybe it's Cyclone. I never had Cyclone, but the armor itself is reused from the Lords of Power version of Beastman, and then he has the 2000X Skeletor belt. And I thought he would have reused the 2000X Skeletor shins, but he's not. These are some different armored shins reused from something else that I'm not familiar with. Man, they put out a lot of figures that I missed out on because the distribution was whack. And I believe that this head sculpt is an all new head sculpt, and you can see it's basically an armored helmet that looks like a horned skull, but it's got like this kind of bright green paint painted on it, kind of matches up with Skeletor's skull, that kind of greenish yellowish color. It's kind of in between the green and the yellow on Skeletor's skull. I think that this armor in purple works really well for like a Skeletor type character. So it looks good. So I'm not gonna be buying like a whole bunch of these to army build, which these are supposed to be army builders, but it's $60 a pop. It's like pretty expensive for like doing a whole thing. But buying a whole bunch of them, even if I could get some on clearance, like if they went on sale later on and I could get some for cheap, I'd probably wind up using them more for custom parts than anything else. But so these are going to be individual characters in my mind. And like I said, the Paragon champion is Man at Arms. It's just Man at Arms in a different outfit. This one to me is a previous person that had the demon bound to their soul, and that's before Skeletor. Skeletor wasn't the only guy who had that demon bound onto his soul. This is another guy from like thousands of years ago, and he could have fought like I don't know, like Vicron or somebody like that. So but I like the colors on it. Again, they're very Skeletor colors, but they're just like a little different. You can see he's got purple armor, but it's not quite the same purple as Skeletor. He's got blue skin, but it's not quite the same blue as Skeletor. So they did a good job with this one. I really like it. Let me go ahead and set it aside, and we can move on to the next. Actually, let's go ahead and talk about articulation while we've got him out, because he seems like the most basic as far as articulation goes. So he can look up about that far, look down about that far, tilt his head kind of quizzically from side to side, rotate the head all the way around. It's going to kind of bump into these horns on his armor. Likewise, the arms rotate all the way around, but they're going to kind of bump into the armor a little bit. So but they do rotate all the way around. They move to the side about that far. He's got a single joint of articulation at the elbow that rotates all the way around. Of course, he rotates all the way around at the waist. He can kick up about that far, do the splits, no problem. He's got a single joint of articulation at the knee that bends about that far and rotates all the way around. He's got a boot cut, so the boot rotates all the way around. Foot points down about that far, foot points up about that far, and rotates all the way around. All right, so that's it for this guy. Let's go ahead and set him aside, and we'll move on to the next one, which is the Horde Revenant. And man, I feel bad for this dude. He had a tragic backstory there, didn't he? But I think I'm going to use him as Horde Prime, because I don't have a Horde Prime figure. I never had the classics version of Horde Prime. And to me, he looks kind of vaguely like the way that Horde Prime looked, where he's like got like a red Hordak head. This looks more like it's supposed to be a mask or a helmet or something. But considering how Horde Prime would be more technological even than the actual Hordak, still biomechanical, but more on the mechanical than the bio side. And he has the same skirt piece as the King Hiss slash foot soldier figure. And most of his parts that are reused from King Randor. And they did a really bad job with the rubber tabs on here. I just want to say thank you for doing a bad job with the rubber tabs so that I don't have to struggle with them too much. They're all really loose. I was able to pull the figures up fairly easily. But like with the Skull Knight, the head's a new piece, but everything else is reused from something else. This breastplate is actually from the 2000X version of King Randor. You can see that the Horde emblem on there is just kind of painted over, which if we read the backstory, that actually seems kind of appropriate since this is like uh, you know, a rebel who had his spirits crushed and was then transformed into a Horde trooper. So just take whatever armor he's already wearing and paint a Horde symbol over it. You know, but he's got Horde boots, so I guess they gave him some new boots. But whatever. So his one weapon that he comes with is King Randor's scepter, staff, whatever you want to call that. Again, from the 2000X version. Yeah, that was the King Randor that I really felt like should have come with a sword. But yeah, so again, pretty neat. And in my version, I think I'm just gonna use him as Horde Prime. He's just gonna be my Horde Prime figure, unless like they put out a proper Horde Prime at some point. And his ankle just seemed really stiff, so I'm trying to loosen that up a little bit. So, and then last but not least, I think this is the figure that I thought was the coolest is the Pit Warden. So we got this big old shield. I'm not sure if this shield has been used in anything before. It seems like it would have come with something else before, but I can't quite place it. And then this sword, which looks very much like it's a remold of Keldor's sword that came with the 2000X figure. So, but now it's in like a dark bluish gray. I guess they figured that would make it look generic looking enough that it could be somebody else's weapon. But to me, it's Keldor's weapon. It just looks too much like Keldor's weapon for me to accept it as anything else. But whatever. And then he comes with this extra neck piece, so we can make his snake neck a little bit longer. So he's not wearing it in the package. So again, this is a guy that I'm not really going to use him as an army builder. I have a character in mind that I've created for this. Hey, it was the first rubber tab I actually had to cut. They did a good job putting the Pit Warden in here. So unlike the other figures. And after I was so nice about it too, then they're going to make Pit Warden a pain in the ass. Come on. There we go. All right, got him out of there. So he's got this really cool snake head. He's got two heads that I've never seen before, so I think these are both new heads. And he's got the same forearms that Jake the Snake Roberts had, which I always thought were really cool forearms and definitely wanted to see more of. So it's nice to see those again. He's got a lot of parts that are reused from a lot of Snake Man figures. And I believe these feet, do I still have? I was thinking I might still have, yeah, Demogorgon. These are the same feet from the Demogorgon. So that's where we've seen those before. But other than that, he reuses a bunch of different Snake Men parts from a bunch of different Snake Men. This arm obviously is King Hiss, not just the regular King Hiss, but the improved Ninja Turtle King Hiss, the Turtles of Grayskull King Hiss. So it's got the opening jaw like King Hiss should have had in the first place, and the snake head on his head has an opening jaw. Really cool. And then he's got this other, like, more humanoid, but still unmistakably reptilian head. And either one of these, I think, would be a good Snake Man head. But, but, both of them together is just really odd and creepy. And this guy reminded me a lot of, this is a deep cut, a Silver Age comic book villain from the old Doom Patrol, Animal Mineral Vegetable Man, where he was like a shape shifting character, but the way it depicted his shape shifting just looked really weird and painful. And it kind of reminds me of that. So in my mind, the Pit Warden is a shapeshifter, and like he doesn't really have like a solid form anymore. So he's just constantly shape shifting. And let's go ahead and have a look at him with these weapons. Now, this is obviously designed to fit on the right arm. You can see that it's designed to fit on the right arm like that. So he only has one normal hand, so you can only really put one weapon on him at a time. But there he is with the shield. I kind of like that he comes with a shield, because during that time, like the later period of Masters of the Universe, like everything from about like 1986 on, like that was when parents groups were complaining about the violence in the line, and Mattel had kind of a knee-jerk reaction to it and decided to, like, basically every character's weapon was now a shield. So, I mean, like, you'd have occasionally some characters that would have, like, a ray gun or a staff or something, a sword occasionally, an axe occasionally, a mace occasionally. But a lot of shields, like Stinkor had a shield, Extendar had a shield, like, and then that would be like their only weapon would be a shield. So, but this guy does still have an offensive weapon, but can he hold it? Let's see. Yeah, since he does have the thankfully, he does have that King Hiss movable jaw on his snake head hand. He can still hold his sword, so that's cool. But hopefully, it doesn't taste too awful for this guy. Man, he's a cool looking figure. I really like this guy, and both these heads are articulated, so you can move them around. So that's some extra articulation. Let's go ahead and add the neck extension, so we can see him at his fullest. There we go. Oh yeah. So yeah, he's a creepy looking guy, and this is probably my favorite figure out of the lot. I think that this is like probably the coolest one actually. So I'm really happy with how this one turned out. This is the one that, like, if these were sold separately, like if they made like a whole assortment of these, and I could only pick one to buy, this would have been the one. If I could only pick two, then I probably would have got the Skull Knight. If I could only pick three, then I probably would have got the Paragon Champion. And if I could only got four, then I probably would have got the Horde Revenant. So, but they're all cool figures. They would all be, if I could have just bought them all as like a single assortment on separate cards, I probably would have bought them, and then I could have got 4 videos out of these guys, and then I probably could have talked about them a little bit longer. As it is, I went over 4 action figures in under a half an hour, so I don't think that's too bad. I think I did pretty good as far as that goes. For a guy that people say I talk too much, I think I talked just the right amount there. I think I did a good job. So, but you can let me know in the comments whether you agree with that statement or not, if I'm tooting my own horn. Oh yeah, I should probably mention that this double neck thing that came from Modulok. So that's a part that's not a Snake Men part. But I think most of the rest of these all came from like Snake Men characters, although I'm not sure uh which ones exactly at this point, because I don't have all the Snake Men. So but I do recognize some parts from various characters. Anyway, that's pretty much it for this massive 4-pack. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please make sure that you like and subscribe and all the fun YouTube stuff down below. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think about these characters and how you're going to be using them in your Masters of the Universe world, how they fit into your Eternia. So that's pretty much it for these guys, though. Next episode, I'm going to be back with another G.I. Joe figure. because I found this one in the store after I'd already opened Dr. Mindbender and started opening other things. So this is Darklon. So we'll be opening up Darklon and talking a little bit about this character who I think is rather interesting and worth discussing. And the figure itself looks pretty cool. So it looks like the original Darklon, but they made him a little more respectable, shall we say. And they did do some interesting stuff with him. He's got more reused parts on him than you might think. So I'm going to talk about that some, and then we'll be back on to DC Multiverse, which I've got a bunch of stuff to open up for you there. I've got several Superman figures. I think I've still got a few Batman figures. I've got Alfred Pennyworth from Batman v Superman, and I'm really excited about opening that one up. I got what else do I have? We got lots of Superman. We opened up Adam Strange. What else do we have? We got some cool stuff. So anyway, that's it. So if you want to make sure you don't miss any of that stuff, make sure you like and subscribe and all the fun YouTube stuff down below. YouTube likes it when I say like and subscribe. So make sure that you like and subscribe, because if you do, it'll send my videos out to more people, and then more people can like and subscribe, which YouTube likes it when you say that. So anyway, that's it for this episode. Hope you enjoyed it. We will talk to you next time. Bye.